going to say, I don't know if I've got a prepared thing, but I presented to the Centre of Policy Studies in Melbourne
Oh yeah.
on MPSGE, and they were quite enthusiastic and interested. Like a lot of them turned up. It was a lunchtime in-person thing, and there was like probably 20 people in the room,
Wow.
and they were like all very interested and very cool. But they're like, "How are you going to fund that?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh,
And
it's open source, so technically, I guess I fund it through teaching.
yeah, exactly that sort of thing. So that other than that, they're actually quite interested to the extent that I'm speaking again on Zoom to them tomorrow
Oh, cool.
to talk more like what I did here, which was that sort of application, my actual research sort of thing. Anyway,
Cool.
jump in.
Let me hit. Can I test something? I want you guys to tell me how terrible this looks.
Terrible in what sense?
Is
There's a
it
big
super
gap on
wide?
A little bit small in my screen.
Okay, let me go. Window. Okay, that's probably a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, better.
There we go. All right. Wide monitor. So I got the data disaggregated, which is cool. So I can now do state table. I still have to compare it to the GAMS version, but it's pretty close. I was checking it as I went. It stays within norms. I'll show off a couple of things because, as Eli mentioned, funding is always an issue, and it's not exactly a rosy path for WiNDC. So one thing I want to do is make it so it's, oh, hey, man, make it so it's incredibly easy to update this data. Because right now, using Python and GAMS is very hard. Like even I wrote most of it and I struggle with it. So here's what I've done. I did the same thing for the national table, but I don't think I've talked about it in huge detail. What I did is I've wrote a YAML file. If you're unfamiliar with YAML, it just looks like this. We can sort of figure it out and talk about it. But this loads into Julia as a dictionary. In fact, I can show you what it is. It loads it as info. So it's just a dictionary. The keys are the top level items. So the ones farthest left. And it's delineated by white space, like Python. So just metadata gives it the title, description, and it tells it where the data is living on my machine. So this doesn't have to be like with the data can live somewhere else. In fact, this is living, I'm working out of a file called national data, and this is living somewhere very different. So all the raw data can just sort of be by itself. All of these maps are provided in the code. I can show you, right? Okay, make everything small. In source United States data, they're just files that are provided. But if you wanted a different state mapping, you could provide a link here and it might work. I haven't tested it yet, but it's set up to work. And then the actual data, you're just telling it like, this is how I'm going to load the summary data and this is where it lives. So inside of this file, there's a thing called summary local.yaml, and it'll just assemble all of the data from there and make the summary level. And then each of the disaggregation type files like state GDP data, PCE data, and I'm just telling it exactly what the file is called, if it lives in a separate directory, because the way that it's structured, I'll show you that later. The way that it's structured is a folder called, I'm thinking it's called regional. And inside of regional are subdirectories like BEA GDP, PCE, just sort of keep them distinct. But this should make it very easy to just update this and have it update everywhere. I think hooking it up to an API is going to be kind of challenging because of this file and these files. So I'm going to think about that. I'm going to put it on the back burner, get the household data and the state model up and running first. And maybe just have like have the raw data up on the website and just be able to grab it. That'd be easy enough. It also handles, so for example, in the state government finance data, they don't have 2024 data available. So we want to replace 2024 data with 2023. Also, DC is not in there, and WiNDC just uses Maryland for that. So it's all in the code. Like it's all here, and I don't have to, I should say it's not in the code. It's all here, and it just does it automatically. Very nice. Yep, and it has all of them. And I'm still working on this. I want to get the sets loading from here as well. Right now they're hard-coded. It's not the worst. So that's making it easier to update because that's all it really takes. Eli, go for it.
Can you put comments in a YAML file?
I think so. I will also have it documented on the website of how it looks on the documentation.
Yeah.
That's what I did for the national data as well. So the national data also has a YAML, and it's I understand it when I read it because I forget the structure of it every time I look at it. But I look at that, I'm like, okay, yeah. So in WiNDC, currently, the national level data does not have the used or other. I can't read used or other commodities. I didn't actually have an issue with that. I was able to eliminate all the problem values pretty effectively, so I kept those in the national level. Moving up to the state level, I hit a bunch of roadblocks. So instead of slowing myself down trying to figure it out, I just removed them. Seemed easy enough. But that's manual at the moment. But this just loads the summary data. So what I do is I subset, and then I just make a new national table, and then calibrate. That all goes off without a hitch. And then there's just a single function, create state table. And that might change. I might change it to build because I want to match notation. Just give it the summary data and all that YAML file. And then in the background, it will load the data, perform the disaggregation, and spit it out. Yeah.
So it's summary level BEA.
Yep.
Is there an option for detail, or that doesn't?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm working on it. One thing at a time.
No, just curious where we are, just mapping out like where we are in the setup.
Yep.
So
Everything's at the summary level at the moment.
But it may be possible there is available sort of detailed tables per state, or
I would hope so. The data can be kind of iffy for the state level data, because then you're using, like, you'd use GDP. The GDP data is only available at the summary, so you got to disaggregate that first. Which is possible, but it'll take a little more time. Yeah, but it works really well. If you're wondering what this down below is, so the way that I have these set up, there are sets and elements. So there's columns up here. So this is the state table, row, call, region, year, parameter, value. And each of these columns has elements in it, right? Like row has all the things that might be associated with a row, like if you're looking at an IO table. So it's got the commodities, it's got some value added. I think that's it, actually. Column has all the columns if you're looking at the IO table. So industries and like final demands, imports, exports, all the NAICS codes for those. Regions or states, years are years. Parameters is interesting because that's how I distinguish intermediate demand. So you can't distinguish them based on row and column alone because demand and supply are the same. So that's what's done there. You can view all of the sets, all of the parameters, and all of the individual elements if you want. So for example, if you're like, what is, there's a supply parameter. There are all the components of supply. So those are all parameters that, I don't think I like that one. Maybe that's right. I'll double check.
Can I ask a very basic question?
100%?
Yeah, so thank you. My question is that the code in the YAML file looks very similar to the Julia code. So my question is, what's the difference between YAML file and .jl file? So why we have the YAML file separately?
Because a YAML file isn't actually Julia code. A YAML file can be read by essentially any programming language. It's just a structured file. It stands for something. Hold on, let's find out. YAML meaning. YAML ain't markup language.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit like GNU. GNU, not Unix. So it's self-referential. Yeah, it's just a human readable language. Super, super useful. In fact, I can show you more of it if you want. If you've ever written a GitHub like continuous integration, like this is YAML. .yml is YAML. So this looks exactly the same. Looks exactly the same. Yeah. It's a good question, though.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So this is all fun. Oh, I should have probably verified that it's satisfied. Oh, so I've typed X there because I was testing. A table. These should all say 0. So what I do is I calculate the 0 profit and just sort it by value. Yep. So I'm just looking at the top number and the bottom number. QAI. Thank you, AI. It's always nerve-wracking every time I check these because I'm so used to them not being correct. That is very nice when they actually are. Come on. This one's taking a while. I think I know why. There it goes. But it's a very good one. Okay, good. And I think there's a couple more balance conditions, but they're kind of tautologies. If you look at the GAMS code and you sort of disaggregate them out, they just balance to 0 anyways, because they're based on composite parameters. But this is not the fun part. Well, this is fun. Let's see here. Oh, I have to stop sharing and then reshare. Believe it or not, also wrote documentation for it. So this is now actually available. I don't think it was public before. I don't know if people are big at chat, but I threw it in chat just to be complete, or you can Google, it'll come up. And not a lot of directions on use yet. I will work on it, but I think actually WiNDC blog state disaggregation. I think I put code here that will run still. Maybe not. I'll have to update this so it actually works. So I'll get this updated so people other than me can use it. But I've written the most bare bones documentation you can imagine because there's nothing. But I've documented all the functions. And the important one right now is create state table. One of the things that I think needs improvement in WiNDC is exactly how all of this stuff is being done. Because I bet I could ask Drew how every parameter gets disaggregated, and he could probably tell me. But he might be the only one, other than me, I suppose. And if you don't know how the data is being made, why would you trust it, right? Oops. So initialize. Hold on, I gotta move. Come on. Come on. There's one control bar you guys can't see that's right in the way. So what I've tried to do for every single one of these functions is have a very standardized documentation style. So initialize table, it tells you what's going to be preserved from the summary level, from the national level, and what parameters are preserved. These do start empty. And as I build, then I add stuff to it. So let's look at the first one, intermediate demand and supply. So it gives you a general idea of what it's doing. Disaggregate intermediate demand and supply from the national summary. And zoom in a little bit. It tells you what data it's using. So it's using GDP, then it tells you the explicit file and how it's loading it. I'll middle click that to look at it. It tells you what parameters it adds and the elements. So these will end up in the parameter column. Aggregate parameters, intermediate demand is use, intermediate supply is supply. And I've tried to share a little bit of what the process is. So this one's really simple. It just uses GDP data and disaggregates by share. Now, I haven't put an example in there. I could, but I think I would put it in this function right here. So this load state GDP, that's just coming from the BEA. So it tells you what it takes in, the optional arguments. Yeah, and then it has a couple extra files. And then I tell you the data source and how to get it. So BEA website. And then it just sort of walks you through where to download it. Trying to be very transparent about where things come from. Because really, this isn't for the benefit of anybody but myself when I have to update the data. Because I will forget almost immediately. Same with disaggregate by shares. It works. I should probably write this a little bit better. Yeah. I'm going to make a little note so that I remember to do that. Disaggregate by shares. It's easy to do. I have a couple more other functions that I have to do as well, but this does exactly what you'd imagine. Disaggregates by share. If you wanted to see the source code, you can click source. And it's a data frame operation. So essentially all it's doing is a join and then a transform.
And the share is the GDP share? Is that what the...
Yep, by region. And the share can be anything. It's whatever disaggregate is. Yeah. And then when you give it the domain, so it defaults to commodity, you can give it sector. It will figure out what domain the sector is and will join it. So it knows, oh, sectors live in rows, so I can disaggregate on the sector. So this allows me to pull out explicit little pieces of information. Oh, in fact, I can show you. So like disaggregate intermediate, just click source. It is right here. So I take the summary table, GDP, every window is small again. Summary window or summary GDP, I'm going to disaggregate 2 parameters over sectors. And then it just does it. And then here, I'm just adding 2 sets and the elements. And I don't like this. This is going to be WiNDC container. I have to add a function to add sets and elements. That's not hard. It's lower priority because I can always hack around it, but it's just kind of ugly. Could be better. All right, so that's what I've tried to do for everything. So there's 16 steps. I guess there's 15 steps because the first one is initialization. The ones that are bad at the moment are this one. Bad in the sense of not well documented and need to be optimized. This one, oh wait, I have a list. Exports, that's going to be an easy one to fix. And then these 2. So labor capital, regional demand, and regional margin supply, they work, but they're ugly. So that's top of the priority list.
Do you mind just quickly noting like the way that the trade goes, right? Because there's a pool national.
Yep. So basically
every state, yeah, go on.
I can show you here. That's essentially handled by regional demand. So you have foreign imports and exports going into like a national market to each state. And then you have a pooled national market. So states can either get goods from locally within their state or from the national market. And that's what this function does. It creates 2 parameters, local demand and national demand. So this is what it demands from the local market. This is what it demands from the national market.
Right, and all imports are coming into that national market and then being distributed from there.
Yep. No, I think exports and imports go directly to state. I believe. I always get confused. When I write the model, it'll clarify.
Just based on this here, if there's only two markets, like
But there's also foreign exports. So foreign exports are
its
going
own
to state.
separate thing, yeah.
Yeah. Same with imports, but that's on the other side. Yeah, so you can see this one doesn't have a process because I haven't gone through and made it actually do that yet. I will. It'll be moderately annoying. And I can show you what I mean by it looks ugly. That is too zoomed in somehow. Yeah, I'm trying to mirror the gams and it gets kind of away from me a little bit. Oh, it's actually not that bad. No, never mind. This isn't terrible. Basically, all we're doing is we're finding regional demand and then using regional purchase coefficients to either have it be local or regional, national. That's the whole concept. You're muted, Eli.
I was thinking out loud for a second, but now I will repeat. Regional purchase coefficients come from where?
FAF, Freight Analysis Framework.
Oh, wow.
Wait. Regional Eli, that's a spectacular question. Regional purchase coefficients come from right here, which comes from FAF data. Which and then, wait, nice. Why did I not? Uh-oh. Load FAF data needs the data source, but I swear I put that in. Where did I put FAF? Where put FAF data?
Okay, so there's some data on how much each state demands from everywhere except itself. Something. Yep. Interesting. Is that data easy to have a quick look at? No, you don't know where it is. Right?
Did that do anything weird? Okay. No. Everybody said, nobody said anything, so I'm guessing no, it didn't do anything too weird.
No.
You want to see the freight analysis framework data?
Just real quick, I'm curious, but if you have a lot of other stuff to cover.
As in, not really. As an Excel file or?
Whatever's easy.
C was going to have to run away in a second.
Oh, well then Siwa, you should ask your questions and
no, I didn't have any specific questions. It's been very interesting. Yeah, no, go ahead. I'll just drop off quietly at the bottom of the hour. So go ahead.
One fun fact about the FAF data is that it is huge. It's half a gig. So it takes forever to load up into Excel.
And so I guess we're about to see, but it's basically per commodity per state to coefficients that sum to one, something like that.
So we do a couple of things with the FAF data, and we make shares out of it. We essentially the regional purchase coefficient are shares essentially. Ultimately, data set is too large. Don't say. Got it. Stop. I wish I could just change sharing from that screen, but it doesn't.
Huh.
So this is what it looks like. And if you've never had the joy of looking at a spreadsheet on an ultra-wide monitor, man, do I recommend it.
All those columns.
Let's see here. It's going to be small, but I'll point out what's important. You're not zoom. There we go. So it's got origin, destination, what type of transport it's taking, the commodity, how it's traded, the distance. Really what we're keeping is this, and then the values, these ones.
Oh, the distance, that's super interesting. So it's sort of like on a scale from 1 to 9 or something.
I think so.
1 to 8 or something. Wow.
Where'd it go? There it is. Yeah. I think I would do the distance different, but like in the iceberg gravity model. Yeah. And if you notice, there's a lot of columns. There's like, so it starts at 2017. I'm looking at this number, 2021, 2022, 3, 4, and then 2030. So it also has projections in here. It would be very nice if they just let me download only the columns I wanted, but of course they don't.
But there's one set of values per year.
Yep. Just from 2017 to 2024.
So how do you split between domestic and because there's a 1-1.
Yeah. These are not, these corresponds to countries as well. Oh, that's what FR. Yeah. Foreign destination, foreign in mode. So if I go up, 801 is a different country. So it's going, yeah. Which is kind of unnecessary. They can just put 801. I don't know, but yep. So it shows foreign countries as well.
Wait, what? So that one you just had is a 1-1. I don't know which state one is, Alabama or something.
Let's check. That might just be the whole US. I forget. I have a map somewhere.
But how is it? It's like 1-1 to me suggests that it's domestic supply, but then it's got it's domestic supply to country 801.
I think the way it goes is
This is
where it arrives and where it goes. So it's giving you more information. I have it documented somewhere. I always forget.
Yeah, thanks for showing that. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Where's it come from? Because I know it's on the website. Look at the website.
Yes. Where does it? So it was. Oh, wait, sharing is paused. Oh, because I minimized it. Let me go to not the whole screen. Oh, dear. Sorry, buddy. It's just muscle memory to share the whole screen. Let me go to. Does this use FAF share? It doesn't look like it uses trade shares. This one does. Can't believe I didn't put that there. I put it somewhere.
Oh, this is your note that you put before.
Great. Here it is. Okay, where is this? This is in the okay, so this should be somewhere else. Okay, you don't need to be. Thank you.
Bureau of Transport Statistics.
Yep.
Wow, that's fun.
And the actual data is down here. We use 5.7.1.zip. So that's the regional database. And then we also use which one is it? This one, the reprocessed data. So this has 5-year intervals for historical data. And then we fill in the gaps for all the other data. Because it works pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, it works pretty well. And if you forget that, which I will, I've already forgotten it, if it's being honest here, it explains that right here as well. And then I put a date in there just to remember that this isn't always what it is. It's just like that. But it works. It works. It loads much more quickly. Like it generates the data much more quickly than the GAMS version. Which isn't to be unexpected, but it is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way that GAMS works is it constantly loads and unloads the files because they can't write a function, which then slows things down, which is annoying. So I should stop and say, what do you guys want to know? Data, questions, anything? Trying to think. So future steps, I'll ask your guys' advice. I'm going to get the state model implemented and then just clean up a couple of things here and there. I've raised some issues so that I know what I need to do later because I will forget. I also have a notepad. I've gone very non-digital in some things, which is good. And then after this, I think I'm going to do the state model and maybe improve the YAML a little bit. And then I might move on to the household data, try to get household disaggregated. Because I think that is what I'm going to guess that's what May wants. I can see her nodding excitedly.
So how is this different from the previous version of the state data? It was all from GAMS and just like copied into Julia? Like the one we used in the paper.
So the one we used in the paper, so we wrote a paper about something. Which paper?
MPSG.
The MPSGE, like the household one?
Yeah.
Oh, so we wrote a paper for MPSGE. And essentially all I did was took the data from GAMS and exported it to CSV.
Okay.
That's it. This data is going to be all inclusive.
Yeah.
The good news is that the household data should be much, much easier to disaggregate. The state data is more complicated, mainly because of labor and capital. Capital numbers come out as negative.
Interesting.
And then we want, so they have to be positive, which is very annoying. Yeah. Let me think here.
Do you know what Drew and that do in GAMS to make them reconciled? Because I can imagine
I did the same thing.
Capital is something like you could have negative years, right? In theory, investment.
So here's what it did. Here's what we did.
So
Here's
this
what
is off topic.
Oh, there is no topic. Don't worry about it. Here we go. So I haven't put a process in here yet. If I go into the source, I can sort of talk you through it. Actually, what do I want? So the first thing that we do in labor capital is we compute labor shares. And the labor shares, essentially, it's exactly what I'm saying. Capital data provided by BEA has negative values. So to rectify that, we find like reported GDP and actual GDP, add that to labor. And then we take the total labor and essentially use a least squares model to figure out the correct proportions of labor and capital, the correct share of labor and the correct share of capital. So inside of here, we have an optimization, we're using jump.
So it's like a regression on at least squares on what data goes in. By like.
Oh, this is so terrible. Don't look too close. It's not great. Here it is. So the data that goes in we estimate it. So we estimate these shares just a little bit. And then here's the actual model, right? So this is the objective. Can't speak. So just least squares, nothing too terrible there. And then what we're doing is we're saying the total labor times the region share times the total value added has to be equal to labor demand. So we're not doing anything too groundbreakingly astonishing. And then, of course, the labor and capital shares have to add up to 1.
So it's like the regression is between the states from the total.
Yeah, that's one of the things I have to document, because I think if I say something now, it'll be half cooked. But yeah, it's a process. Drew explained it last time as well, a little bit. But even he sounded a little like he did it like 6 years ago.
No.
Yeah. So what are my priorities going forward? I'll get this cleaned up rest of the week, get that done. I'm going to help. We completed a contract for USDA in January, and somehow they're just now getting around to writing it up. So they've asked for a little help there. I'll do that to stay on their good side. And then household data. So I'm going to hit the household data as hard as I can. Hey, May's back. Really try to may hit the big red X in the top right corner of Teams, and it just all went away. That's all right. Yeah, I want to hit that household data hard because I want it to get done. Yeah. How much snow is on the ground in Boston right now?
We got nothing.
We're getting another 5 inches today.
Another 5 inches?
Oh, Eli, you haven't been around.
No, I got one photo from you, but yeah, that's
You
crazy.
can't really see it. There's like a foot of snow out there.
I just came from summer, and it's like early summer in Australia.
All I have is a dream of
37.
summer.
I went camping in the countryside where it's like away from the coast. 37 degrees Celsius. We went into town. We were camping. We went into town and hung out at the library for the rest of it.
I'd take 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Actually,
Yeah.
that's not true. I wouldn't. I don't want the snow to melt. It's protecting my garden beds.
Really?
Yeah, it's insulation. Snow is a lot warmer than you think.
Mm.
Oh man, that's great. Trying to think of what else I can say. My mind is buried in documentation and code. So if
Sounds
you have
good.
questions about disaggregation, now is the moment because I'll make a note and make sure that it's good.
Yeah, I mean I still have that question, which is just that, like, to the extent that something is being estimated by a regression, like what are the elements that are going in to come out with what? Like, is it estimating per region from the total, or
Yep. Yes, that's exactly what it's doing. Yeah, the problem with this is that it is just at the moment stealing GAMS notation,
yeah.
just so I could more easily. I didn't get confused. But I hate the GAMS notation. Sorry. I think because there's kale. I'll figure it out. I'll give it better names. Names are useful.
It's not terrible.
Self-documenting code. It's not great.
I don't know what thin is.
I think it's final.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, if I zoom up, because they all have the same names, right? I essentially just broke out the model later. Yeah, so it's the capital labor share. Oh, I don't know. And then
Yeah.
it does transformation.
Yeah,
Yep, that's
fine.
going to be. This is Terra here. Let me show you. Let me show you bad code. So this will be an example of what not to do. Don't be like me. I'm just going to zoom out because it doesn't. I don't want you to see the details, even though they're publicly available. This function starts on line 43. And it ends on line 215. That's not great. So that's what I'm talking about, that labor and capital is a nightmare. And it's a very long function that I need to make be better. And I'm going to.
Yeah.
It's not broken at the moment, though, so there's less motivation to do it now. But it needs to be done. All right. I'm confident the household data, hopefully end of December. It shouldn't be that bad. I understand the R code pretty well. So right now, the household data is assembled in R. Just like the core stuff is assembled in Python, the R stuff is assembled, or the household is assembled in R. So I'm going to convert that to Python or to Julia. I have a start on that somewhere. Done it in the past. That one should be pretty easy to link to APIs because Drew's already done the hard work there. That's not too bad. And you should just be able to click WiNDC household and hit go. And it would build it. I hope.
Yeah.
Throw the compiled file up on the website, then you could just download it, not even have to compile anything, just open it and go.
The steps would be to first do the regional disaggregation and then as a subsequent step hit go on the household split.
Yep. And what I would do It's in VS Code. I'm gonna hit stop sharing because I don't think it's too useful. What I'll do is I'll have a YAML file, just like I have for the national and the state, so that when you want to do the household data, you can specify in the YAML, like, I want to use I'll tell it where to download this stuff and then go for it. So it'd just sort of be integrated in, so you wouldn't actually have to do the manual disaggregation. And I'd much rather have you just be able to download a file and load the household data from there. Much rather have you do that.
And it's basically like final consumption by commodity split between each household income level, 5 income.
I believe
level.
so, yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
Doesn't actually do anything other than that. There's no like.
And the endowment block. So as the
Yep.
consumption and the expended the endowment of
It's how
labor
households spend their
resources.
money, earn and spend money. So
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
get in there.
The display and capital supply, especially.
Although that will show off. So when I get that done, that's going to be a spectacular demonstration of MPSGE in Julia because it's way faster.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Way faster. Which I guess doesn't matter if you just run 8 simulations overnight. But you better run 8 simulations during lunch. That's the goal.
Yeah, excellent.
All right. Trying to think if there's anything else. Let me check my notes. Post it. No. Re-exports are in there as well.
Oh, okay.
So the state data has re-exports because supply can be smaller than exports, apparently. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was confusing for me when I first started, like the same commodities being exports and imports. And then I remembered that America's a big country.
Yeah, and re-export.
Yeah. There are no re-exports at the national level, though, which is kind of wild. And they're not in the WiNDC model, at the very least. They probably exist, but
Net it out.
what?
Probably net it out.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Because they're in the BEA data, aren't they?
Mm-mm.
There's no re-exports in the BEA data.
Nope. Almost every country has them. Every other country has them, but not the BEA.
I mean, Comtrade or whatever has it.
Canada has it. Australia has it.
I mean, I think the US has it. It's just not. I think the BEA must be netting it out.
Yeah, they probably do.
Yes. Which is convenient for everybody who's using it.
I prefer data, believe it or not. Yeah, so that's the plan for WiNDC. Hopefully have household data done by in December. Make a nice little data release. January 1st, I go down to 50% time. It might go a little bit lower depending on if I get teaching. If I do, I get to make it even lower. It might have an effect on the meetings here, teaching and stuff. But it's essentially a faculty load, right? 2-3 courses and research. So it's a fun little project. All right. Anything else? I don't know. Questions, comments, concerns? I'd really like to get the household data done before the end of December so that January I want to do so much with NPSGE, but it is not on the golden path, so to speak. But I really want to. And WiNDC container, but it's stable to the point that it works. And I also have to write an abstract for the GTAB conference in Japan.
Are you doing it?
I mean, that's January is when I plan to write that one, yeah.
It's due January 6th, I think. Is it?
That was the later in
That's it.
January.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
It's usually due January 15th.
Yeah.
Usually.
Good.
Haven't checked
Mhm.
this year.
Good.
What are you putting in for?
TBD, something Julia GTAP related. So the plan is to get the household data disaggregated, because that way the next step is WiNDC, GTAP WiNDC. That's the next step.
Does
Because I think I want to
GTAP
put it in. Sorry, go on.
sorry, is there a GTAB in Julia?
Not so Maros has something, but it's not great code. But I am working on that as well. Yeah. Maros and I worked on a program to read header array files, HAR files, which for some reason GTAP is in. I know why. It's because they use Genpack, and Genpack has been around since before any of us were born. It was on tapes. But yeah, that's fairly stable. It works well. I think I have to contact Maros to get the documentation I wrote up, but yeah.
So I just wonder, to read the HAR file, do we still need to use games, or can we read HAR file through Julia directly?
Yep. Let
Cool.
me see. Let me find the repo. And I don't think it's had a release because, believe it or not, Maros is busy. Let me share.
What's he doing now? He's already got the new job or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's in Saudi Arabia doing Saudi Arabia things, buying EA and trying to buy HBO, I guess. It's this one.
Wait, what was the first thing he's trying to buy?
EA. Electronic
that?
Arts. It's a video game company.
Ah,
The Saudis have already bought that one. So I threw a link in the chat.
chat doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. But if you Google header array file, Mivambic, you'll find it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do 3. Yeah, and I think there's a little bit of documentation here, but I want to say I wrote docs. Yeah, so I wrote documentation, but I can't access the settings to turn them on. So I'll have to tell Maros how to do that. Yeah, this is not correct at all. I gotta fix that. Oh dear. Okay, I'll do that this afternoon. But yeah, if you want to use this, just let me know, and I can help walk you through if you run into bugs. Just let me know.
Sure.
It'll probably be pretty buggy with GTAP 12 whenever they get that out. We'll fix it.
So I know in Tom's GTAP in games, he convert the HAR file into GDX, but then he also impose some kind of filter so that if you look at gsd.gdx file, it becomes something like gsd underline 001, which is the filter version of gsd. So is this the same? I mean, is this also the strategy that will be used in the Julia version of GTAP?
Maybe. That I don't know yet. I'll have to look more into it. But this package right here will just load the raw files. They won't do any modifications. It'll just load them up. It'll also tell you if things aren't loaded. So anything that we only support a certain subset of the HAR specification. So if it doesn't get loaded, that's on me.
I guess those tolerance will come after. I think Tom said you don't really need to keep those very, very small numbers.
Yeah,
for computational tractability.
Yeah, small values are bad because it's just more. It makes the data more dense, and they're not really doing anything. Yeah, so he has a lot of filters. I always hated writing the filters because there's like 40 parameters and you have to test them all. I just was like, why isn't this just one data frame? Because I could drop by absolute value.
Yeah, is there a better way to do that? Like you just drop the smallest like those, filter those out just in one batch without listing them out one by one.
In GAMS?
I mean, Julia.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here, watch. Stop sharing. Which
We're
one
just
is
digging
the
out Quincy stuff.
Okay. So let me look at state table. Looks pretty good. I wish it would. There we go. So what I'm going to do, it's value. So I'm going to take the state table. I'm going to subset it. So X is just the state table. By row. Let's do the absolute value of Y is less than 1e to the minus 4. So let me make this bigger. Yeah, there's all the values that are small. So what I could very easily do, that's a little too small, if I'm being honest. Let's do this. Wow, okay. Let's go the opposite way to keep all the things that are bigger. I'll just call that df. And then I'll do x is equal to state df, comma, oops. Let AI fill it in, give it the sets, the elements. There we go. Now x has no small values.
That's great.
Let's do the fun thing. So there were 44,000, but we got rid of 10 to the minus 6. So I doubt this will affect the calibration. But it's possible, right? Scroll down. Nope. Oh, there it goes. Yep. So they're still pretty well balanced. I could do the same thing with market clearance. Market clearance always takes more time. Oh, this one was really well balanced anyways. This isn't going to have any effect. But yeah, that's exactly how I would drop all the small values. So instead of Tom's function or pages, let's see here. I can find one. WiNDC, this one has a filter in it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's in here. Oh, good. It affected the balance a little bit, but that's not bad. Yeah, so he has a whole page dedicated to just filtering.
Yeah.
And you can see, oh, he's doing so much. Oh my goodness. You have to look at what he's doing. He's filtering and aggregating. And like, resets, I don't know. Oh yeah, this is where he's filtering. Much easier. Yeah, with all the nice things about data frames, there are some caveats like extracting explicit parameters. That's one of the things that WiNDC container is trying to solve. Yeah, it's working all right. All right. Yeah.
After the filter, I have to rebalance it. So.
Yeah, I think he had to calibrate somewhere.
So in your household desegregation, then you have to go through the rebalancing routine.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. And that matches. So typically while desegregating, you try to avoid it because, but I believe there are terms where, for example, the domestic demand, the way that we calculate that is we know the balance should be 0 with the domestic, like with domestic and national demand in there, local. And so we know that number by knowing the other numbers. So, okay, that must be the leftover. So that's essentially how it balances market clearance. Because when you're going across, you know those two values because you know the sum is 0, which is convenient. Yep, the only optimization routine in the state disaggregation is labor capital shares.
Gotcha. And then later you just use the shares, apply the shares to break out the total.
Yep. And those sum to 1, so it doesn't do too much. Yeah. But the problem is the shares go by sector or something. I don't know. I'm all confused. Trying to think of words. Yeah, the one thing that GAMS does that I do different is when they do, I can show you. It is, oh, I bet it is DEA share. Do I not know how to, nope. GSP share? Yes. So when they run their optimization routine, here it is. Here's the labor capital share for in GAMS. Same optimization, same everything. They loop over all the years and sectors. So they're actually solving the number of years times the number of sectors models. They're all independent. I just made the model have a higher dimension and solve one optimization problem. Doesn't really change anything because they're all independent. Like they're all independent blocks in the Jacobians. Doesn't really do anything, but GAMS is slow on loops. That's the way I would have done it. That might actually speed it up. All right. I should stop. Let everybody go live their lives. Eli gets to eat breakfast. May and Henry essentially get to eat dinner. It's 1 o'clock. Cool. Thanks for coming. Definitely
Thank
next
you,
week.
Mitch.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, Eli. Bye, May.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
How do I stop recording? How do I? There we go.
You already stopped.